So in the last class, we covered what is obj open by handle, right? We understood what obj open by handle helps us with in opening an individual record, or could be a work object, opening that based on pz key. And we also understood pz key is the primary key for all the tables in Pega. Right, we understood that, and we also saw how does it look like for a work object. It looks like something like this. The work class followed by the work object ID is what it looks like, right? And for example, for our activity, it looks like the activity class, the class under which you have created the activity name, and the timestamp. This is the PZINS key for our activity. Similarly, for a flow, it looks something like this. And from a database also, we went and verified these things were valid, right? Perfect. So today we are going to take one step further in our learning journey, and we'll be understanding, you know, what is data transform in Pega. What is a data transform in Pega? Data transform in Pega. So to understand this, the bookish definition for this thing could be, data transform is a rule using which you can, it's a rule in Pega using which you can set values to the properties. So far we have seen how to set values to the properties, right? We used something called as property set in activity to do that. Yes or no? We did that, right? If you remember, every activity we created, we used a method called property set, and we set the values. Yes or no? If you see here, see property set, and we set some values. We are passing the status and we are setting some values. What are these values? Ultimately, for example, if I'm trying to fill a form, like other day we were trying to fill the insurance form, for example, progressive. So we are trying to build a, insurance application. So we also saw when you have to build an insurance application, we have to give certain values, right? For example, if I have to get a quote for my auto insurance, I can give my pin code, say get a quote. And here, whatever values I give, I'm trying to set some values. Is it fair understanding? I'm trying to set a value for this first name property. For middle name, if I have anything, I have to set there. For the last name also, I'm setting some property. I'm giving some date of birth for myself. All these are properties, right? First name is a property. Last name is a property. Date of birth is a calendar sort of a property. Street address is a text sort of a property. Yes or no? And from a UI standpoint, a user is setting these values here, right? User is setting these values. Perfect. Does it make sense, guys? Right? And in the same way, through our activity also we can do, we saw that, right? We saw how we can set values through our activity also. Using property set method, you can specify what all properties you want to set values for, and then you can specify the value. In how we saw here, I can set the same way here. I can tell dot first name, and then I can say f name. See f name, and I can say Abdul. Like this, using activity also I can keep setting those values. But what Pega does is, like for example, the property setting here we are doing through activity, but Pega has a specific rule through which you can do it. Like last name also is something I can set here. I can say this is how I can do it through activity. But what Pega is saying, hey, you don't have to do property set every time, but for setting these values, I have a specific rule, and that rule is called as data transform. That rule is called as data transform. Do I see under the data model category from the rules explorer, see, and I click on records and when I expand data model, do I see something called as data transform? Yes. See, this is the rule we are trying to understand today. Let me open this category and see which class does this particular data transform belong to. I'm just opening one random data transform rule. These are the available data transforms which are there in Pega. We can create any number of data transform as we want depending upon the requirement. I'm just trying to open one data transform. Of course, we'll be creating some and understanding. I want a use case for that. I'll walk you through that. Before that, let's try to understand exact class does this particular data transform roll up under. Like activity rolls up under rule obj activity, property rolls up under rule obj property, section rolls up under rule html section. This also should have some class. Let us try to see that. To know which class this belongs to, I have to look up the pxobj class. I opened the rule and then I am clicking on, from the actions, I am clicking on view XML. From here, I can go and see what is the pxobj class, which should be rule obj model. All the data transforms which are available or created in Pega will have pxobj class as rule obj model. Every instance of data transform is an instance of rule obj model class. Does it make sense, guys? Perfect. Now we understood which class this rolls up under. So to understand this, let's try to take a requirement. So most of us, we have done transactions on Amazon, yes or no? Amazon, we do book stuff, right? Amazon or Flipkart, we book stuff, we order stuff through these websites, yes or no? And when you try to do your purchase, there is a section where you will be performing billing, right? A section where you will be performing billing. And when you try to perform billing, the system gives you an option. Is your billing and shipping address same, right? Because let us say there are 4 fields you are filling. Let us say address 1, address line 1, address line 2, city, state, pin code. So if these both are same, they give you a checkbox here, or one checkbox, right, telling that, hey, if the billing and shipping address are same, check this checkbox, and then the billing address or the shipping address automatically gets populated with your billing address. Yes or no? Have you seen that? Yes or no, guys? Understand this requirement. When you try to order stuff over any of the commercial, on commerce platforms like Amazon or Flipkart, you try to book some stuff, and then when you have to order it in the last stage, when you do your billing, it asks you if the billing and shipping address are same. After you have specified once, it doesn't want you to give again because it knows this is the only, you know, uh, this is the same address, so they don't want you to refill it. Makes sense, right? They don't want the user to spend too much time on the UI. In the sense, filling the same information again might be annoying for you. Doesn't make sense. Do we agree? Perfect. So let's try to see how can we implement one such requirement in Pega. And to do that, we'll be making use of data transforms to understand. Because if you see, what did we say? We said data transforms are something which will be used to set properties, set values to the properties. Values like first name, last name, stuff like that. Let us see how exactly we can put it to action. Okay. With this basic understanding, let's try to go one step further. So now we are clear with our requirement, what we want to achieve. Okay, in our existing flow we want to do this. Let us try to do that. So to do that, as usual, the first thing I want is I want a data type. What is the data type? To capture the address, I don't have a data type right now. I want a data type for that. Yes or no? Do we have a data type for address? Not yet. So I'll create a data type. This is something which you have already seen. For people who are new, you guys can anytime go to my channel and see how data types are created, how data pages are created, stuff like that. You can do that. You can go and verify that. We have already covered these topics. Perfect. We want to create a data type called address. Okay, this defaults to address, and then let's see advanced and see which class this is going under. It is going in alpha auto data. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to change it. Let it go there. No problem for me. Okay. I need few fields to capture address of a given user. I would need few fields. Of course, there is an option to add fields. Once this form pops up, you will see an option to add fields. Let us add those. What do I need? There will be address line 1. Address line 1. It's a text, of course. I want another address line 2 to capture the address. Address line 2. I also want the state to be captured, which is state, and the city, right, and the pin code. Also the pin code. Pin code. Perfect. So we have all these attributes created. Cannot be, it's not blank. Perfect. Okay, submit. So this should give me all the fields I have provided here should pop up on the UI now, right? Address line 1, address line 2, state, city, pin code. So far just created one data type and added these fields. Yes or no? Perfect. Let me save this. Now once we have this, to these properties are in which class? Address 1, address 2, address 3, address 4, address 5. All these are in which class? Alpha auto data hyphen address. Yes or no? These are in address class. Now, for example, if I have to use these properties in work class, what should I do? We have done this before so many times. I want you to answer this. If I have to page list, or I mean to be more precise, page, we need a page referencing this guy in my work class because these properties are not under work class. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Right? Okay, so let's try to create a page to access these properties under work class. To do that, I'll go back to my app explorer. It is pointing to my work class. Right click here on the work class, or you can right click on the data model and create a property which we can later modify and change it to page. Yes or no? What is this page? This will be holding the address, so I can call it something like a billing page. Yes or no? Billing page. I'm calling the page which is going to hold these values as billing page. It's part of work class, part of my auto insurance application. Create and open. Perfect. So now I created this property, but this has to be of a page type, and the page should be of what type? I can select that here. As soon as you create the property, you get the option to change here. This is not a text property. This has to be a single page. I can click on change and I can choose single page. This will give me a drop down where I can choose which class this page is going to fetch properties from, and then I do have my address class. Yes or no? This is my address class, right? Perfect. So I'm able to select that and let me save that. Now I do have a reference using which I can access those properties of address type. of address data type. Perfect. Now, next step is, let me try to create a section in the work class. I'll try to create a section for billing. Okay. Same thing. Right click on user interface, create section, and let me call this, okay, billing section. Of course, once you have created a section, you have to convert that to a full section editor to make use of the different palette which Pega provides to build a section, right? And then let me modify this existing layout which got introduced to inline grid double, and I can do that by clicking on the gear icon here. Let me cancel this, show you again. Just click on this gear icon, change from stack to inline grid double. Okay, submit. And then from the structural, I'll try to drag a dynamic layout under which I want to add all my properties, right? And let me call this particular layout. First, let me say the values should be stacked to left, other. Same thing, I'm changing the layout format to other, and then I'm going to choose stacked with labels on left. This is something again we have done in our sections class. If you guys have any understanding gap, you can visit the sections class and then you can clarify. If you have any doubts, I'll be happy to help. Submit. So the baseline is ready. All I have done so far is created a data type called address, under which we added 5 fields, created a reference for this particular address data type, which is a page, billing page, and a section called billing section. Okay, let me call this, let me give a label to it. Let me enable the header on the layout and say this is billing address. Perfect. If you guys have any doubts on this thing, you should visit our previous class, which is about obj open by handle. In that we have done like really decent job in understanding how the section design is done. Very interesting. Perfect. Now that I have this ready, let me right click on this work class and refresh it. Refresh work class, and if I expand the data model, I should be able to find the page property, I guess. Yes or no? I'm able to see the billing page, right? Yes, no. So let us try to drag and drop those properties here. Or also what you can do is you can use this particular drop down called data capture, where you will get different inputs. These are text inputs, so I want text input sort of controls. See, one, how many fields do I have? 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, I need 5 text controls. Let me drag and drop them, right? Nothing fancy, no coding involved, just dragging few inputs and pushing it here. And now we have to change the references. If you see, the skeleton is ready, but these properties should be pointing to something. Just click on every cell here. You'll get a gear icon. Click on this gear icon. Point to the property which you want to use here. My first property has to be the address. How can I access that? I have to go to my page reference, which is, if I click dot, I will get that here. And then you can see billing page is here. Is this the page which we have created under work class? Yes or no? See? Click on this and click another dot. Now you will get address one. See the first field modifying and getting updated with that thing. See? Address one. Same thing has to be done here. Next cell, click on the gear icon, dot billing page, dot address line 2. Perfect. So address lines are ready. Now again on the third cell you can say which city, right? And dot city, capturing city through this property or this field. And the next property is state, dot billing page dot state. Perfect, done. And last field is dot billing page dot pin code. We are done. We want to capture these 5 properties as part of address. Yes or no? Shipping also will need exactly same details. Do you agree? Right? Shipping also will need exactly same address, same details. So to do that, we can also, like, we'll be creating exactly similar section. Do we agree? One is billing section, one is shipping section. However, the page, we'll need one more page for that. Exactly like the billing page, we will need a shipping page. Yes or no? Because billing page is holding billing address details. Shipping page will be holding shipping address details. You can right click and create another page here. Or what you can do, you can just save as this particular billing page from the action, sorry, from the save button. There is a drop down. You can use this save as, or you can right click here and create another page called shipping page and change the referencing class to data address. I'll show you how we can do it through save as. Just save as this particular page, billing page, and call it shipping. That's it, right? See, you did created it once. Now we are reusing this shipping page, ship shipping page. Save this. If you see right now, it is not appearing here. It won't be appearing because I have not refreshed it. Only billing page is appearing. Nothing for shipping. If I can right click and refresh this class, I should be able to see the shipping page also. Extract the data model property. Shipping page is appearing with all those properties. Yes or no? One page to capture billing address, one page to capture shipping address. Does it make sense, guys? Yes or no? Perfect. Same way, we need another section to capture that. All you can do is right click and create a new section, add these properties and modify the references. Or also what you can do, just do a save as, just do a save as of this billing section. See, you wrote it once, but you are utilizing as many number of times. Doesn't it make the development faster, guys? Does it make sense? Create and open. Now, however, the referencing properties here are of billing page. Yes or no? These properties are referring to billing page, and the label also is billing address. We don't want this. We want shipping here. All you can do, you can remove this entire thing, or you can just modify this guy dot, and you will see shipping page. Just use that and you are good. Done. And you can just copy this, submit, come to the next field, open the gear icon, select this, paste this, submit, open this, select this, paste this, submit. Now we are changing the references. Wherever it is billing page, we are making a shipping page because this is a shipping section. I don't want billing address to be mapped here. I want shipping address to be mapped here. All this we have already done. UI design is something we have already done. Also, I have to change the header label. This should be shipping address. Yes or no? See, your skeleton is ready, guys. You wanted a billing section, a shipping section ready. both are ready, right? And you created it separate pages to capture that. That also is ready. Yes or no? Perfect. So now with these things ready, what do we do once we are done with these separate sections? We need something called as a wrapper section. Yes or no? Right? We have to embed this two sections in a wrapper section. But also what we want is, if you remember, you know, we will need a checkbox where we can capture if this already is present, like if the shipping address and the billing address is same. How can we do that? We can have a flag, or we can have a checkbox where a checkbox is checked, and if that is true, we can say okay, we don't need to write the shipping address again, because we are going to use the same thing. To do that, I need to capture it through a checkbox. The checkbox should be mapped to a property, a boolean property like true or false. Let me create a property under work class for that. So let me, to do that, I can do from here and right click on data model on the work category, on the work, under the work class, and say one property I want to create, and I'll call it billing shipping shipping ADD are same, billing shipping address same is what I am calling it. And inside, once I create it, I want to change it. I don't want this to be text, I want this to be a boolean. I should have something like boolean true or false, right? True or false. See, as soon as I change here to true or false, the UI control defaulted to checkbox. When you check, it is true. If you don't check, it is false. That's what it means. So I need this property to capture whether the user wants to fill in the address or not for shipping, if the billing address is already available and if it is the same. So I have that property also. Yes or no? Now let's create the wrapper section. What is a wrapper section? Wrapper section is a section which contains other sections, and if any extra UI controls are needed. Under the work class, I'll create one more section called address section, right? I have billing information, I have shipping information. Now both these are addresses. That is why I will be calling it address section. Your naming convention matters, guys. You should be knowing what you're trying to create, and you should give the name depending upon that. Why? First thing, it will help you understand. Second thing, once you are not there, your fellow members also will be able to understand. Anyone who sees this will be able to understand, right? Though this is only for billing information, this is for shipping information, this is address, which means it will have data for both billing as well as shipping. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Right? That's it. Now I do have my sections. All I have to do is drag those sections. So first I want my billing details. Expand this section. Just hold this guy. Bring and drop him here. Or you can do embedded section also. Let me just hold and drop this guy. Mouse pad is not working. That's fine. No problem. All you can do is from structural, you can say embed section. You know. Come on. Let me save and retry. Refresh this guy also. I want Dev Studio because all we are doing right now will be part of Dev Studio. I had saved the section, so it should have that here, right? Shipping section. Okay, perfect. and I have to add those sections here. Let me drag and drop it here. And what is the section? I want my billing section here. Perfect. Submit. See, billing section came here. After this, I want a checkbox. To get the checkbox, there is something called as pickers. Yes, checkbox. See, under pickers, there is something called as checkbox. Hold this, drag it here, and then say whatever the value is for that. If you say dot, you should be able to see billing shipping address same. Am I able to access that property which I created under work class, which is a checkbox property? Right. Perfect. I'm able to find that. Panel Akhil has joined. Perfect. I am choosing that property, but the value for this particular checkbox should be something specific. It should be relevant, right? And I'll say if shipping address is same, please if shipping info is same as billing, please check this. Please select this. Whenever the user comes to this checkbox, he will see that, hey, okay, this is same, so he has to select this. Makes sense, right? I want to append this to this layout. Okay, and then I will say whatever is this, not address section, this billing shipping section. Does it make sense, guys? Very simple. Three sections we have created: billing, shipping, and this thing, and address section. In address section, we added those sections which we created, dragged and dropped them. One checkbox. Make sense? Does it make sense, guys? Perfect. Okay. Okay, perfect. We are done with this. Once this section is created, what do we need, guys? Where does the section go? Very good. So this section has to go and sit into a flow action. Let us create a flow action. Let me go to my work class and create a flow action. I can right click here, or I can go to the process category and do it. I'll right click here, go to process category, and then I'll say, hey, Pega, can you create me a flow action? And then Pega will give me a pop-up. I'll call this address flow action. All the values remain same. Part of auto insurance, work class, create. Now, so far we have not even touched data transform. We are just going through the example, right? Through the requirement. I'll click dot and I should be able to refer that address section. Am I able to get that section? Yes or no, guys? Perfect. Save this. Three sections created, two page properties created, one data type created, and stitched together, and we are here right now. Does it make sense? After this, to check if the value of that particular checkbox is true or false, we will need something called as a when rule. We will need something called as a when rule to check if the billing and shipping address is same. What is that? We'll see. Okay, to create that, you have to just right click on again the work class, and you will see something called as a decision category. Okay, a decision category, or you can create from here, as well as I'll show you the other place also, or let's do it from here and then we'll do it from the other place. It's not getting set. Right click, Where is decision and W. Under text analyzer, there is when. Okay, it's not appearing on this UI, but that's okay. If I click on when, it should be giving me a when record. This is nothing but what do you want to do when a certain scenario occurs is what we are trying to see here. I'll show you. I'll explain this also. Just follow along and we'll visit this and I'll show you that. I will call this bell shape address sim. Okay, part of auto insurance application. Create and open. Once this form pops up, you should be able to select fields, and check what will be the value for that. This is exactly similar to the expression which we chose in the last class, where we told if under the expression we specified if this customer status is this thing, then if it is true, then show this section or keep it read only, like that. Exactly similar to that, but that's okay. We'll see this in detail. Once you create a when rule, you will get this particular form where you can specify conditions. In conditions, I want to select my property, whatever my property I want to check for. And that property will be, I guess, billing, shipping, address, same fields. Expand the fields and you should be able to get those. Bill, shape, address, same, right? Come on. Let me copy that property. Control C and I put it here. Wow. Why is it not popping up here? Under fields, I should be able to see this. It should give me all the properties which are there under the work class. That's kind of unusual. Interesting. Let me save this and retry. At the same under the work class has to appear there. No problem. Let's try to revisit this. Let's go one step further and try to create a data transform rule. Cancel this. Cancel this. Okay, perfect. So going one step further, we'll revisit that. Don't worry about that. I am having some glitch. I'm not able to get my property there, which is fine. Let us try to create a data transform rule. Exactly like how we create other rules. You can create it by right clicking on this particular category, going on data model and clicking on data transform, or you can go explicitly on this data model category, right click here and create a data transform. Like we discussed, this is used to set properties. Whatever properties are there, to set that, we are going to use this. What am I going to call this? Exactly, some name which makes sense to me. Address DT, address data transform. DT stands for data transform. You can name something which will make sense to you. Okay, choose clipboard here. The values you want should be in the clipboard format. Okay, by default it will be checked. Don't worry about that. Auto insurance, work class, perfect. Create and open. Now you will see set of values here. Right. This particular tab, once you create a data transform, will give you a definition where you can specify what you want to do here in terms of setting. Okay, and here when I'm here, I want to create, let me refresh this and see if my don't need this. Refresh work. Don't see the decision category created. Perfect. So once I am here, I can do multiple stuff. I can set, I can remove, update page. Let's do one by one and see. Here I want to use a when rule. That's what I wanted to do, but somehow it was not getting triggered. That's fine. Let me choose when. Okay. And then let me see if there is any when rule available for me. See, I don't have any when rule. What I will say, I'll try. I want to create one. So I'll call that build ship. See, and then I should be able to create from here. If I click this, they should. So give me first name, last name, everything. Why not? Come on. And let me open the data designer for this particular class. View data designer. Just to confirm if my property is existing there. I can right click on the work class and then I can. Okay, if you see, my property is not popping up here, because of which it is not showing me there. So let me create that property. Billing, shipping address, same. Property. Let me delete it from here and recreate it. Looks like it didn't pop up there. So all I'm doing is Control C. For the property to be available there, you should create it from here. I'm deleting what I had created, the property which I had created, the checkbox property. Okay. And then, so this is not there in system now. You can confirm that by right clicking here and refresh the work class. You will see that that property won't be available anymore. See, I want to create it from the data designer, which I accessed by right clicking the work class. Build ship address same, and I want to make it a boolean property. You should be seeing boolean here. Perfect. Submit. It's good that issues like this come up, because you will also see what sort of challenges one can go through while creating. Let us save. Okay, now the property which I created got saved as part of the work class data model. See, I'm able to see that here. Okay, perfect. Now I'll go back to my when rule. Here I'll have to access it again and see if I'm able to see that, or else we'll debug it further. No, let me cancel this and recreate it just to see if it will be giving me the pop-up. Build ship address same. Ideally it should. A new when rule. See? Does it make sense, guys? Yes. No. So it was not giving, when I created it manually, it was not giving me. So all I did was access the data designer, and from there I want to create, I went ahead creating this property, and then now I'm able to access that property. So issues like this will come, so you'll have to do some debugging from your side to understand that, which is good. This is good that it happened. So all I want to check in this particular when rule is when billing and shipping address is true, is what this when rule is going to check. All that this will do is it will check if the value of this particular role is true. I was able to successfully create that when rule. Now going back to my data transform. When I came into my data transform, there was nothing. It was just giving me a blank sheet, and all I did was delete this, delete this. Right. So all I saw was only this particular on the definition. I saw this particular row. Here what I am seeing, I want to select, I gave address dd as my data transform. Here I want to select when this particular value, what is that, billing shipping address is true, then perform the below operation. What is the below operation? I want to set some values. Yes or no? We told that this particular rule is used to set values, but we can do it in a certain way. All I have to do is, what should I set? I have to actually update the page. So this class might end in 10 minutes. If it ends, I'll be putting a new link on the group. Whoever are part of the group, they can, let me give the link to the group. So you guys, whoever is not part of the group, you can join that, so you can get the latest link, and then you can join the meeting. I'm putting it in the chat here. Okay, I'll be sending a new link once that gets expired. Okay, perfect. So now all we want to do is, whenever that property is true, I want to update a page. What page do I want to update? What are we saying? We are saying if the billing and shipping address are same, then populate the same billing address on the shipping address. Yes or no? That's the requirement, right? So that means the shipping info has to be populated based on billing info. If the billing info is available, all I'm saying is update the shipping info page if the checkbox is true. That is being done here. They are checking if the checkbox is true here, and then we want to update the shipping page with those details. How is it happening? We'll see that. Don't worry about that. Right now, just understand the conditioning. How will I get details for this page? I can get details for this page from the values of billing page. Yes or no? Whatever values are there on billing page, I want it on shipping page. That's what I'm trying to say here using this data transform rule. I used a when rule. I am checking if the value of that property is true. Is the value of that property true? If it is true, then this data transform is going to go further. When this property is true, update this page, is what we are saying. And what properties do you want to update? This is exactly similar to the property sets we did. Verify this. What properties are there on shipping page? Address one is there. What will be this value? Nothing but address one of billing page. Same thing, same way. If I keep adding, I'll be adding same stuff. Dot address 2 will be the address 2 of billing page. Here we are in the billing page context, the source from where the values are going to this particular properties, address 1, address 2, right? In the same way, dot city will be dot city from here. The same way, dot state will be dot state from here. Yes or no, guys? Are we able to understand how this is working? Don't worry, if you're not understanding also, no problem. I'll be going through each and every step once we are going to run it through the flow. So no issues. The rest property will be pin code. I want the pin code also. Okay. All we are saying here is when that particular property is true, in the sense if the checkbox has been checked, then copy these values from the shipping page, from the billing page to shipping page is what we are saying here. Let me save this. Pin code is undefined. This is unusual. Why is it looking for that property under that? It should be, oh my god, that's the mistake. Okay, if you see here, I did a mistake. I had to add a property under 1.1.2 as 1.1.3, but I've added outside. That is why we are getting this issue. So we have to delete these guys. Or can I move this under? Yes. No? Okay, that's fine. Delete this. Delete this. So if you see, the next property should be under this guy. See 1.1.3. So now it should be dot city dot city, and under the same context, how can we make sure? Just click on that property reference and then try to click on plus, then you will be getting exactly below that dot state dot state, and then similarly dot pin code dot pin code. Save this. This should go through successfully. Now when you minimize this, how many steps this data transform is having? Only one step. See, only one step is there. But if you expand, what you're doing here based on what is the when rules, decision, because it's a decision. Is this true is what you are asking in this when rule. If it is true, it is going to result a true. If it is true, then continue with these steps. What are these steps? You want to update a page. You are using a data transform to update these values. We'll see further how exactly are we going to use it into the next segment, where we'll be mapping this into the UI and doing that. So this is my first step. I completed it. I mapped those values. Now if it is not the case, what should we do? If true, this has to be done. If false, what should we do? Otherwise, like if it is not head, what should be the next option? When you toss a coin, what happens? Either you get true or you get false. I mean, head or tail. Yes or no? In the same way, if it is true, you are going to do this. If it is not true, it means if it is false, what are you going to do? That is also something you should specify. To do that, you can add another step. Here, you can choose, instead of when, you will be otherwise. Otherwise, what do you want to do? Otherwise, you want to keep those values blank, right? You don't want to set anything to that, right? Whatever the user is going to give, the new values, you want to do that. Same thing, update the page, you know, and no, not the values, whatever the page is, for example, the shipping page here. The shipping page shouldn't be updated. Yes or no? Should that be updated? If it is not true, no. If the checkbox is not checked, it has to be blank, and the user will be putting values there. Whatever the values are, he'll be giving there. I'll help you understand, don't worry. Tag along with me right now, and then dot city dot state dot pin code. The values should be blank. You are not setting anything if it is false. In the sense, if the user didn't check the checkbox, the value should be blank. I don't want any value there, because the user will be having option to modify that further. Because that value is blank, he can give his shipping address. For example, the billing address is my brother's card. Shipping address will be the home where I am living in. Don't we do that many times? Yes or no? For that scenario, we are doing this. We'll see this. Don't worry. Okay. We'll see this what exactly happens. So this has two steps. We configured two steps into this guy, and then we told, okay, this is what we are trying to do. If it is true, do this. If it is false, do this, is what we are saying. Okay, perfect. Now we need to call this data transform. Yes or no? How many minutes left? Are you guys still with me? Okay, perfect, no problem. Mhm. We completed adding a data transform, right? All we have done so far is created a data model called address, created three sections: a shipping, a billing, and address section, created two property references, billing page and shipping page, and one when rule, which just checks if the flag property, the checkbox property, is true, referred that particular property in a new data transform called address data transform, under which we are, if the value is true, we are copying the billing page information to shipping page information. If not, we are keeping the shipping information blank as part of this data transform. To do that, we have used different options in a data transform, which is we can access a when rule. We use that from here. Also, we can update a page using update page option under a when rule. We use that here. Also, we used set to set the property values. Also, we use otherwise, which will give us a parallel path if this particular route is not true. Okay, and then using that also, we are doing some operation. Perfect. Right? Okay. So far we are good, but we want to know, where are we going to link this particular data transform? Where is it? Where is this going to set? Right? That is something which we want to know. To do that, let us go to the address section. Right now, I am in my address section where I have, this is my wrapper section, which has billing section, shipping section, and one control, which is a checkbox control, which captures if the value is true or not for the same address. Okay, perfect. Now let us open the properties for this particular checkbox. All I did here was came to address section and I clicked on the checkbox property which we had added, which tells if shipping information is same as billing, select this, is what it tells. I am clicking on the gear icon on that particular cell and I want to refer this data transform. How can I refer it? There is a tab called actions. Coming back again, we were in the data transform. We completed our data transform creation. From here, we want to link this data transform to our flow. How can I do it? On the address section, which is a wrapper section, I came and I clicked on the checkbox where I am seeing if the information is, on check of which we are checking if the values have to be copied to the shipping address. I'm clicking on the gear icon there and I'm clicking on actions tab of this particular cell on this checkbox. I'm clicking on the actions tab. On the actions tab, what do you want to do? Whenever the user clicks or selects this checkbox, I want to copy these values. Is the requirement clear, guys? Is that not what we do when we are trying to book stuff on Amazon? Yeah, it asks you to check if the billing and shipping address information is same. Check this checkbox is what it tells. And we do that same exact functionality we are trying to implement here. Under the actions tab, create an action set. What do you want to do? On click of this particular checkbox, add a event on click. On click is an event. You're performing one event there, which is a click. You clicked on the checkbox. What do you want to do there? There, I want to refresh this section. Under add action, say you want to refresh this section. And when you try to refresh this section, you also get two options. Last time we saw we ran an activity, yes or no, in the previous class. Now we also have option to run a data transform. Yes or no? Are we getting that option? Select your data transform here. Coming back again, canceling this, nothing is saved. We designed a data transform where we are copying the billing information onto shipping information, and if it is not, we are keeping those values blank. To map that, we came to the address section, which is a wrapper section of my billing section and the shipping section, and one additional checkbox which will check the value. On that checkbox field, click on the gear icon, come to the actions tab, create an action set. In the sense, whenever that checkbox is checked, what do you want to do? Whenever checkbox is checked, I want to create an action. That action is, you know, I want to refresh this section, and then I can say I want to run this data transform. Am I getting the option to run the data transform, guys? Yes, no, perfect. So here I'm able to select that. Now submit this. Also, when you have selected this, should the shipping address be editable? It should be read only, right? Because once you select this, you are telling that whatever information is there here for billing address, the same thing should be for shipping address. And which tells me that this has to be read only. I don't want to modify. If this is already selected, this should become read only, or else there will be a difference between this address and this address. To make sure that we can set that also, just click on, this particular section, click on the gear icon for this particular section, go to presentation. It will be defaulted to auto. From here, change it to read only. But read only when? When should this be read only? Yes, right. So that means I can use my when rule here. Can I? Can I use the when rule? This when rule? This when rule checks if that value is that property is true or not. Yes or no? Right? Coming back again. So the shipping address should be read only. If this particular checkbox is checked, that means billing address should be copied here, and this shouldn't be editable. To do that, I am clicking on the gear icon on this particular shipping address section, coming to presentation. From auto, it will default it to auto. Change it to read only when rule. Change it to read only when rule. And the when rule which I have created for this thing is this guy, bill ship address same. We created this, right? We created this. Submit. See, bill ship address same. It will check if the property was true. If it is true, then it is going to return true. Based on that, this section is going to behave. Save this guy. But now I have a flow action, sections, data transfer, everything. But for this to appear in flow, we need something, right? What do we need? We are not calling this flow action anywhere in the flow. Yes or no? We are not calling this guy anywhere in the flow. If you see the customer flow, I'm not calling that. If you see all the existing assignments have a flow action already. One has customer info, another has vehicle info. See, customer info I'm capturing here, personal vehicle info I'm capturing here. Both have flow actions. I don't have any place where I am referring this flow action. What is this? This is something which a user is performing. The user is performing something on that screen. Yes or no? He's filling those values. Yes, no. As part of this section, the user has to provide some values. Do we agree? When you're booking something, you at the when you come to the billing stage, you have to provide these values. Can I call that it is an assignment for a user? A user has to be assigned with these on that screen. The user has to provide those values. It is his job. To do that, all I am doing is I'm adding another assignment shape. and I'm moving from personal and vehicle information. This connector will be connected to this. I'll move this slightly further. Just see what I'm trying to do. From here, I'll create one connector. This assignment is all about address information. Yes or no? See, I had to add this one. I am modifying my flow here. Modifying my flow to add another assignment. Why? Because the user is performing another operation here, which is address information is what he is providing. And I have to refer that flow action on the connector, right? Am I able to find that? Does it make sense, guys? So people who are new or who don't understand, you will have to take up the flow class to understand this. No worries. Just follow along. Nothing fancy here. So far, our flow had only two screens: customer information, the user used to provide customer information; personal vehicle information, where user provide personal vehicle information. This was not there. We have modified the flow also. We added the address information, billing and shipping address information section to it. Yes or no? Guys, everyone with me? Perfect. Now let's try to run this. Let me save this and let us run this. I'm creating a new work object here. Slightly lengthier class, but very important. Let us say first name is Vishwas Nayak. Vishwas at apple.com. 25. Male. State Karnataka. City Mysore. Submit. This is my first assignment getting over. Now I am on my second assignment. Let's just say Mercedes S class and 2022. Sorry, 22. When is, let us say, some random number. Prior insurance, no. Karnataka state. Let's submit. Now I'm on the address section. Let us see if the address section is working as it is supposed to. 884 RP Road, and then Mysore, and then Karnataka, and then 571301. Now let us say the same information is on my card and the same address is where I want this to be shipped. Does it make sense, guys? Is this information editable? Did I type this information, guys? Yes or no? Is it easy to understand what a data transform is capable of doing? If I uncheck this, see, I can edit these values. Ship this to Mysore Palace. I can modify these values. If I have not checked this, because this value is false now. If I check this, it is true, bro. Does it make sense how a data transform can? All that is happening is whenever you're coming on this screen and checking on this checkbox, Pega is saying, hey, this checkbox is checked. What are we supposed to do on check of this? On check of this, I want to run a when rule, a data transform, right? On check of this checkbox, I am running a data transform which is configured on this action set. Hey, on click, run this data transform, right? And as part of this data transform, what am I trying to do? I am saying as part of this data transform, please copy whatever values are there in your billing information page to shipping information page. Are we able to understand what is the data transform all about, guys? How can we use it to copy properties, property values or set property values? Perfect. Very good. So that was the motive. Today's class takeaway is that yes, there is a rule called data transform which exists, which belongs to rule obj model class, and you can use that to set properties. There is some additional information also I want to share with you as part of data transforms. Let's also see that. So from a work object standpoint, how you can use it is something which we saw. How we can call a data transform, we understood. Okay. From an activity also you can call a data transform. From within a data transform also you can call another data transform. Those are slightly advanced topics. We'll see them later when we are trying to work on that. We'll see them. If you see, for example, this particular work object, when it created, there is a prefix to it, c hyphen something, right? C hyphen some number. Yes or no? So we never told what has to be this prefix. Did we tell? Pega by default it is creating this. Did we remember we specifying it anywhere? We didn't. So this is done at two places. One is there is a data transform called py default. Whenever you try to create a work object, a data transform is called, which is called as py default. Let us see where I can find that. At two places we can do it. So one place is on your application definition. Application definition can be accessed from here. Just click on this drop down, click on application definition, and there is something called as cases and data. Here we have not specified any prefix, have we? We have not specified any prefix here. Have we specified any prefix, guys? No. So you can specify here as well. If you see there is no flow specified, neither have we specified any prefix here. So here you can specify what can be your flow or what can be your prefix. Right now let me keep it blank. I don't want to uh, use this. That's fine. So there are two places where you can specify what should be the prefix. You can specify here, or there is another place which is called as a data transform which comes under py default. Let me see if I can access that. Let's go to records. Oh, it's already here. Open here. Under data model category, you can click on this thing and then you can call it, or you can also come here and look up for py default. Call it py default. Just filter for py default. See how many py defaults are there. So many py default. All these are data transforms. Yes or no? Because these are under data transform category. Yes or no? Do we agree, guys? Right. You can also save as this py default, that py default under work dash. There is a py default under work dash cover dash which gets called when you try to create a work object. And if you see, do we see the prefix set here, guys? Is this a data transform? See, setting properties equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Do you see the work ID prefix property being set here? Right? If you have a question, how can you modify a prefix of a given work object. This is how you can do. Come to this particular rule, do a save as of this particular rule. The py default rule. Py default is nothing but a data transform. A data transform where they are setting the prefix. Let us say I want a specific prefix. Create and open. Just say create and open. It is part of work dash cover dash. Don't worry about that. All we are understanding here is how can we change the prefix. Instead of C, if you see most of the, for example, the order ID of your Amazon order will be like, a timestamp, something different. It won't be like this C hyphen or something like that. Yes or no? It will be kind of different. It won't be like generic like this. Let's try to build something like that. Let's try to see if we can print something like that. To do that, I have saved as this rule, and then now I can modify it. Previously I was not able to modify. If you see here, I can't modify it. It is locked here. That's why I saved as this rule. To modify that, I want to have something slightly different. I don't want C hyphen, but I want a timestamp, to be printed, like the current timestamp when this is getting created. That thing I want on the work object. A hyphen current timestamp followed by whatever the number it is. Let us say. To do that, all I have to do is come here. Where is this getting set? The prefix. What is the step number? 4, right? Dot py work id prefix. This is the property which is going to hold that value. We did the same thing in address data transform also, right? We set values to properties. Data transforms are used to set values to properties. Also, you can perform some when based on certain conditions, you can set those values. We did that today. Yes or no? Let us say I want to print the timestamp along with this. To do that, let me open this particular, sorry, not this. Let me set some value for that. To do that, I can use this, gear icon, build an expression. And let us say I don't want C, I want A hyphen. I don't want C, I want A hyphen. And I want the timestamp also with that. So I can look for, just coming back again, click on this gear icon, come here, click on browse here. Here you can see set of functions which you can use. For example, to get current timestamp also you should be having something. So just type current and you should be able to see get current timestamp. Are you able to find this? Just click on plus. This should come over here. Does it make sense, guys? And let us say I want A hyphen. I don't want C hyphen, I want A hyphen. And this is just this thing, and I want a hyphen. But if you see A hyphen, A followed by current timestamp, and then the hyphen should come later after the current timestamp. But if you test it, this should fail. It is telling, see, it is telling the expression does not have expected token current timestamp. If you see, in such cases, whenever you try to append something like this, you should always use a plus because it is a string. It's a programming concept, don't worry about that. Just use this. Test. This should work. And if you see, you are still seeing this error. Why? Because this particular hyphen also should go as part of double quotes, which means that you are trying to specify a string. See now? Sorry. Hyphen. Does it make sense? Now your work object will look like A followed by current timestamp hyphen, then whatever the ID it is, 1001, 2001, 3001. Does it make sense, guys? Do we understand how can we modify the current times, the prefix of a work object? Let us see on UI also. Don't worry about that. Okay. Let me submit this. Now you will see this is updated. You are no more seeing C hyphen. C hyphen was previously. Now it is A followed by current timestamp and a hyphen is what we are seeing here. Yes or no? Let us save this and see if it is reflecting when we are trying to create a flow. Okay. All this happening as part of data transform. Nothing fancy. Does it make sense, guys? A followed by today's current timestamp hyphen 1 new case. Similarly, another case if I create timestamp followed by 2. Yes or no? So whenever you try to create a case, by default there is a data transform called py default which gets called in the background. Because if you see, we just created a case, we didn't do anything. By default, Pega calls this py default. So the values which you want on the fly, whatever has to be set when the user launches a screen, if you want some values to be appearing there already, you have to put that in py default. Or you can call a data transform from an activity and also you can do it. Those are advanced concepts. We'll see that. It's very simple though, but we'll see it later. Right now, today's takeaway is what is a data transform? A rule under which using which you can set values, which we saw. We did a use case for that. Also, we understood how a prefix for a work ID can also be modified using the py default data transform. All we did was just setting an expression. Yes or no? Anything fancy here, guys? A, whatever was C, we changed it to A. We used this browse. The function was already available. We included that, just added plus, plus, double quotes and hyphen. Using this test, you can validate if this is working or not. For example, if it's just having one plus missing. See, is it giving you error? You can just use these tools to just modify it, test it, submit it, and then utilize it. This is what I had for today in terms of data transform. I hope the message or the rule was successfully explained and grasped from your end. Can I assume that, guys?